What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bitchuation Room podcast live stream show. I am your host, Francesca Fiorentini. I hope this finds you so good. I hope you are well rested and let me live vicariously through your rest. That's what I've been trying to chase for so many nights now. Just a little bit of sleep. Yeah, new mom here. And my kid's doing great. It's me who can't sleep. I'm the problem. I need to relearn how to sleep. It's like a Russian nesting doll of learning how to sleep. Yes, indeed. If you are here, make sure you are liking the stream. You're sharing it. You're clicking all the buttons. You're just rapidly, sort of palming your phone. That helps everyone discover the show. Also, leave this podcast 5 stars on iTunes, on Apple Podcasts. That really helps people find this show, which is 100% ad-free and independent for now until, some weird bra company where they market bras with people with like 5 breasts, just like it's possum bras, really. If they want to advertise on this platform, on this show, by all means, hit me up. But we have such a good show. We're going to talk about a number of things. Corporations finding a heart. What? Corporations throwing in the towel. Huh? So that is Eli Lilly, the pharmaceutical company, and Amazon, the ubiquitous marketplace of life. And then we're going to talk about the Chicago mayoral race, which just got very interesting. Activist and commentator, Rafael Shimunov is going to be here, as well as comedian Maggie Maye. Super excited. I hope you're excited too. But I wanted to announce, usually we end this show with a little bonus bish for all the Frantifa, all the patrons of the show. But instead, you guys get a whole new show. A whole new show. You get a whole new show. It is going to be the bonus bish on Twitch and on YouTube on Fridays. Now, anyone can watch live. It'll be Fridays at 1 p.m. Pacific. Anyone can watch live, but you gotta be either a YouTube member, which I will activate very soon. I'm super on it. You have to be a YouTube member, a Twitch subscriber, or a patron if you want to listen or watch back. That's right. So if you're a patron right now and you've got that special little adorable rainbow colored logo feed, you're going to be getting Saturday morning or Friday evening a new show right into your ear holes. And if you're a member, or if you're a patron, you can watch back. So you can go to YouTube, you can go to Twitch, etc. So it's going to be an hour of just me and some random stories that I've dug up that have no home, that have no place except for with us. So patreon.com/Bitchuation Room, get at it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing the Twitchuation Room for TYT. Sadly, that came to an end. So this is the next best thing. Only an hour, but it'll be tight. And of course, my cat will be making an appearance whenever possible. And I will describe her to you if you listen to the podcast. So there are also other reasons to become a patron. You get 20% off merch. You get access to my AMAs, which I have not done in a while because I don't get a lot of questions. And so it's a little bit chicken or the egg. But the other thing, and this is sort of it's all happening. But the American Prospect magazine and myself and the Bitchuation Room are going to be doing a little crossover. And so patrons of this show will also get all the American Prospect online without any paywalls, as well as, I believe, a discount on the actual physical magazine. The American Prospect is wonderful. I write for it every issue, almost every issue. You can catch me on the back page writing probably some satirical bullshit take, but it's been really, really fun. So that's another reason to become a patron, is access to the American Prospect, access to a discount for the physical edition of it. I love print media. We have to support specifically leftist print publications, as well as leftist podcasts. So there you go. And with all that, y'all, if you do, lastly, TBR live on Venmo, TBR live on Cash App. If you want a tip and you don't want to become a patron, that's totally fine. And with that, let's get into what we're bitching about. A lot on my mind, a lot happening. Yes, not being able to sleep, big one. The fact that my gums hurt because I got a cleaning for the first time in like a year. The fact that dental insurance is a fucking racket. What else? The endless bureaucracy of our healthcare system. The fact that people are going to be kicked off of SNAP and food programs necessary to eat, and that sucks. That's awful. And then it'll just fuel a cycle of criminalizing the poor as folks just kind of struggle to again put food in their stomach and on their tables of their families. So it's gonna be it's there's a lot to bitch about. Here's what I'm bitching about though. Just cause I drive a Prius that has a baby on board Yoda sticker doesn't mean you can pass me. Okay? I know it seems like a green light that I'm going to go 65 exactly, more like 55, right? I'm going to be in the slow lane and you're never going to get around me. But no, don't drive dangerous behind me, Hyundai. You know what I'm saying? Slow down. I can go fast. In fact, I got a lot of pickup on that Prius, all right? It's half electric and we all know electric cars, they got pickup. So that is not licensed to go around. That's licensed to just don't kill me. See, I'm convinced that the baby on board sticker is just like, hey, this will be on your conscience for the rest of your life if you kill a baby. When in reality, the sticker should just be like, hey, don't kill me. I'd like to live, please. Back up. But people see Prius, they see baby on board, and they're like, this bitch is gonna take her sweet ass time, right? And I don't appreciate that because I actually am a very aggressive driver and I'm very good. And yes, I'm going to make that light for you, sir. We'll both make it. Anyway, these are the small things in life that we need to have. We need to remember when we get mad. And with that, let me bring in, for the rest of the show, artist and activist from Queens, New York, helps organize a coalition of Amazon workers, communities, activists, and small businesses. And he leads an activist artist collective called the Art versus War and is the co-host of Beyond the Pale, New York City's radio home to the Jewish left. Welcome, Rafael Shimunov, and happy Purim.
Thank you.
And I say that in a non-Marjorie Taylor Greene way.
I was just trying to munch on some of the candies that I was given just now, right before going live. My kid drops a bag of candy.
In your lap? That's amazing.
It's both amazing and why right before live?
Why? Well, you could have held off, but you did not.
They know me. They know me better than that.
I did see that Marjorie Taylor Greene said happy Purim, may it bring light, happiness, joy, and honor.
Wow. I didn't see that. Wow. That's incredible.
That was yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, she was she's the space laser lady, right?
That bitch. Yeah. She was. I'm so glad that, we're deliberately forgetting who she is. She went to that Holocaust museum and she just doubled down on the fact that actually
since she stopped
non-Jews are the real victim.
Ever since she stopped doing those Geico caveman commercials, I don't know. Hard to follow.
Wow. Every time I pick apart like an open Nazi's like looks, I always people get mad at me. And
if like, there's enough to criticize, why go after it?
No, that's not even. They're just like, don't fat shame or don't call someone who's ugly. No, she's ugly on the inside too, people. And I will fat shame the fuck out of Donald Trump. All right, he's a fat fuck. All right, and we need to treat him as such. I'm sorry. I realize this is your time, Raf, and I'm treading on it. But I get very annoyed when people ask me to hold again white nationalists to the same level. No, I'm sorry, I won't. But Raf, welcome back to the show. It's been way too long. You've been busy taking down major brands and corporations, and we'll get into who and how and why later on in the show. But what are you bitching about today?
Today, I don't know if you saw the Fashion Week robot dog on Paris accompanying a model.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's those Boston Dynamic dogs that are there's obviously a PR campaign. They're obviously like trying to put them into these normal facets and also extraordinary facets of our life to normalize them, like they do with surveillance and everything bad for us. And
just murders everyone on the catwalk.
I was hoping, because it didn't look friendly. It looked like a cobra/dog.
Yeah. No, they're terrifying. Like the one thing that's cute about a dog is like the face or ears or floppy ears or a tail. Those things have nothing. No. They've just got like psycho hind legs. But how was it walking? Did it like do a little Kate Moss? Like
I didn't see all of them. Apparently there was a bunch of them for different models. There was one that went viral where it like kind of flirts with the model and then takes off a garment of her clothing.
Oh God, no!
Yeah.
It's like the Coppertone baby. You remember the Coppertone baby, but like a robot dog pulling down the underwear. Yeah. It was always a very risque, but you know what? You might be bitching about it, but I like it because that means that's one less dog like terrorizing some village in the Middle East, right? Or like terrorizing people, the unhoused, you know?
What I'm really like focusing on is this is France. There's like production assistants. When they saw this, like, how come there was no like revolutionary spirit and to sabotage these dogs, to like, I don't know, drug the handlers or throw acid on it while they're sleeping, unplug them, something.
Yeah, the French, man, they're too busy working on some other shit. Aren't they like protesting, like lowering the retirement age by a year or something?
Oh yeah, that's like, one of the big,
shut it all down. We're just like, no, I guess you could do that. Sure. What else is new? I'm too tired to care. I like that. That's a great thing to bitch about. Obviously models should be, I mean, if they have the energy to go out and demonstrate, they should.
I believe the models have a certain set amount of calories, and if they go over it, they might faint on the runway. Exactly. But the production assistants behind the scenes, like, they have a lot of power.
I know. They have to just be like, yeah, dogs will not replace us. I mean, it's funny, but like, it's not, because it's funny, but it's not. That's the tagline of the show. It's like funny, but it's not. No, because we don't actually think about robots taking our jobs, but I think it was John Nichols who's been on this show before, and he's always like, look, we're living in a time of like the climate crisis, an economic crisis, and then kind of the dawn of robotics and the ways that robots and technology, we think, I mean, under extreme capitalism, what all it's doing is actually taking away people's jobs and not supplanting or replacing it with, I don't know, universal basic income, anything. So it's, but we don't think of it that way. We think of robots like, well, that's cool, doop-a-doo, but, and I will get into it, but in places like Amazon warehouses, it quite literally might be, I mean, this is what the Bezoses and the Musks are just, they can't fucking wait to fire everybody so they can replace people with dogs. Robot dogs.
Yeah. The other part is, I don't know if you read from Molly Crabapple, her whole piece about AI stuff and how all these kind of robots and apps are, instead of replacing a lot of the creative things that we like to do, they're trying to replace like art and music and things. That there was one image I saw the other day, beautiful video of these sheep being herded in the Europe somewhere, I don't know where, green rolling hills, and then they zoom in and it's one of these robot dogs doing the herding instead of
God,
like a shepherd. And it was just, so
they're putting Babe out of work. Like Babe's like
putting Babe out of work.
Oh, well, Babe was already a scab for like the dogs. Like Babe was already putting the dogs out of work. Now the robots are putting, anyway, it's a whole, that's like, what, why? Again, the fucking problems that don't exist.
Yeah.
Anywho, we have to, I want to bring in our next guest with this particular setup, which is, and I might have mentioned this on the show before, but I did talk to the head of AI at Google. This was, years ago, actually like 5 years ago. And he goes, the one thing we haven't been able to do is program AI to have a sense of humor. Like we cannot sure you can load in a joke, you know, to like tell a joke that somebody else wrote, but you can't get an AI to write a joke, which I'm like, yes, like they don't understand humor. So pretty much everyone on the internet, JK, except for the people here now watching live. And with that, someone who cannot be replicated, comedian of UCB who made her late night debut on Conan and was featured on Last Call with Carson Daly and performed at comedy fests like Just for Laughs, SF Sketchfest, and South by Southwest. Please welcome back to the show, Maggie Maye.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. First of all, Rafael, I'm still screaming about the Geico commercial. Marjorie Taylor Greene. She looks like she smells like she left a gym at all times.
And like she did.
Like a wet dog. I've never seen wet dog incarnate before her. Just that bulldog teeth.
Yeah, I feel like she smells like a Miley Cyrus perfume. And you know what I mean? Like whatever that smells like.
Just something from Ross Dress for Less.
Yes.
Marked down.
Absolutely.
And opened.
Yeah. Just
the
bad.
You can't take the price sticker off forever. And there's like 3 layers of prices on it.
Yeah, many layers. All right. See, we can do it because it's Marjorie Greene. Maggie, what are you bitching about though?
See, you guys were all bitching about like important stuff. Me, I'm just bitching about brunch. I'm not a brunch person. Okay, brunch is just breakfast that got a rebrand. I would not wake up for that food anyway. I'm not a breakfast person. I don't like breakfast kind of foods. But no, they found some good PR. All of a sudden, we got to do it at noon and whatnot. And me, I also don't like to eat at restaurants anymore, like after the pandemic. So it's like, did they wash their hands? Even if I'm not eating something breakfasty, if I'm doing like shrimp, did they devein the shrimp? Did they devein the shrimp front and back? Like,
right, yeah, the poo-poo.
You never know. And then the one in the front, people just leave that and they just put that on my plate to eat. Like
You mean the hands? Little fingies?
Okay, so there's the poop vein.
Yeah.
And then in the front, there's that little white vein. Ew. So you like clean off the hands and stuff like that. And then there's a little white vein that you got to use.
Oh, okay. I love how this started with brunch, but then specifically, you know what? People don't clean shrimp right.
Because the last time I went to brunch, I had shrimp and waffles. Ooh. Fried shrimp and waffles. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fried. I was like, fried, anything fried.
Yeah. So it was
you were
good,
like,
but
not worth it though, ultimately.
You don't want to be at your table trying to like clean it off yourself, doing surgery and stuff like
open up this shrimp.
No.
Look, here's what I will say about brunch. It is number one, I think you need everything. Like I need eggs and pancakes and hash browns and like I need all of it, but just like a little bit of all of it. So I love anything that has like all the grand slammy, whatever. Where it's all together. But I will say that it's the one meal that actually I'm pretty good at cooking. Like I'm actually pretty good at eggs. Like I would never go out and eat an omelet or like get like a scramble. I'm like, I do this very well. Maybe French toast, pancakes for sure, even though, you know, but so it's on that cusp of like, I could do this. I could just do that. But I also one time in LA saw a woman in a brunch line pass out. Just fully faint because that's how much people supposedly like brunch, which is like, oh, I will go hungry and I will not eat for an hour to get this, you know, whatever cardamom fucking French toast. You know?
I mean, what is the brunch lobby doing that the Linner lobby failed at? Really?
Honestly.
No one even knows what Linner is.
No one even knows what Linner is. And you know
Good
what?
meal.
Linner, by the way, I'm like super into Linner because I have to like are eating around 4 because I gotta keep like producing milk in my body. And by the time I put baby down, like if you don't eat between like 1 and 6 when baby goes out, like you need more calories. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. So I'm very into Linner. Just want to like shout out to Linner. You should get nursing moms to push your shit.
I like a good night meal. Any night meal.
Oh yeah?
Any later meal. Nothing like it's like I just woke up. You're You can put syrup in my face.
You like but do you like breakfast at like 1 a.m.?
No.
Oh no?
I don't like eggs. I don't like
Right,
pancakes,
no breakfast.
waffles, none of that.
None of it. Right. Steak and eggs, that's a breakfast thing.
I would just eat the steak. I don't like, I hate eggs with the fire of like 1,000
You
suns.
must be saving so much money right now.
Seriously.
Yes, I'm
What
so
do you do
rich.
with all that?
I'm egg rich.
I love it. Look, that's a controversial opinion, y'all. Don't like brunch. But there are more serious things to get into, of course. Other things happen in the news, things I didn't write about, things I didn't write jokes about because I am very tired. However, we've got 3 main stories. So this is the week where. This was the week where pharma giant Eli Lilly found it in their rotten hearts to lower the price of insulin to just $35 a vial. Still feels kind of expensive to me, but in fact, it used to cost like an average $100 a vial, and that's average, and it's far more than any other country in the world. But Eli Lilly, and we'll talk about why they did it, they will cut their list prices by 70% for most commonly prescribed forms of insulin, Humalog and Humulin, beginning from the 4th quarter of this year, the drug maker said on Wednesday, and totally autonomously, all right? And they said, while we could wait for Congress to act or the healthcare system in general to apply that standard, we're just applying it ourselves, the company's chief executive, David Ricks, told CNN in an interview. Now, there's a number of things to point out here. Number one, that part of Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, a small part of it, said that Medicare could negotiate drug prices and that no one who was on Medicare would pay more than $35 for insulin. That's, again, if you're on Medicare. And that's, again, not until the year, I believe, Raf, correct me if I'm wrong, 2024. So it's not even immediate. You still would have had to wait. And it's insulin and I think a number of other drugs. There's going to be price caps and it's like, yay. You know, I have a dad who's actually going through treatment and could really use some of that stuff now, like some of the affordable meds now. But no, we got to wait till 2024. Interesting. Eli Lilly jumps the gun on Biden and does this himself. But another little sort of curveball here, that back a few months ago, if you guys remember, when Mr. Lil HQPoo unveiled Twitter Blue, where you could pay to be important or what you think is important and what you imagine is important with your blue check mark, and you can pay for that service. And of course, because there's nothing left at Twitter except for, random just dust bunnies, they're like, how to code, right? And they didn't make sure that you couldn't just change your name and buy a blue check mark next to your supposed name. And so here is one, Rafael Shimunov, I think we've all heard of him, quote tweeting, in fact, what one account did, which was call themselves Eli Lilly and Company, and write, "We're excited to announce insulin is free now. Amazing." Like, first of all, I'm sure this was Raf halfway through the retweets that this got because it was so good. So looks completely official. Raf, you had the idea to just, hey, let's just check in on the stock price of Eli Lilly after that tweet went out. Tell me how this came about. And then you wrote, did Twitter Blue just cost Eli Lilly billions of dollars? Yes. And you see here, there's a graph he screenshotted, and there's just a massive dip. What is this? November 11th.
Yeah.
Raf, tell me the origin of this and your take on what Eli Lilly's doing now.
Yeah, I think you're good to know that one of the accidental things that happened with Elon Musk's, Thunderdome hellscape Twitter theme is really is really like just this lapse in security, right? Like where anyone could be anyone. So there's this huge list of all these impersonations, Eli Lilly being one of them, done by anonymously at the time by my friend Sean Morrow.
Nice.
And he just decided, and he knew he could get banned. Like Twitter can actually ban your other accounts and stuff because now it has your identity and with your credit card. So he was just like, all right, I'm going to go all in.
Right.
And he decided to do what I say is the most successful troll in Twitter history, where this troll caused this plummet, also plummeted. I also checked it with other insulin selling companies, the manufacturers, and they all plummeted. And really it demonstrated, it was interesting. All the tech, finance guys would reply to me and be like, well, technically this wasn't the because of this, it was that, and then the market's closed here and there, and it was just BS. And then the financial paper started to repeat what I was saying, and then they shut up. And what you saw was the stocks plummeting everywhere, and really the analysis being that people are noticing. They can't really hide anymore, and anytime these things are going to come up, people are going to just be angry, and the laws that are going to be enacted because of that, the support Bernie's going to have to lowering them, support Biden's going to have to lowering them, is going to be vast, and that's a risk for shareholders. And so they did this as a way to please some of their shareholders.
You mean the reduction, the $35?
It's $35, but it's to the insurance company. It's still thousands of dollars. It's for people who are uninsured. It's still going to be thousands of dollars. It's I think it's like 30 times the price, something like that. From that one, that's just like the consumer end of it. And also they limit. There's a lot of fine print here. You just never thank a corporation for anything. Like when Exxon was forced to clean up a spill, they actually ran commercials about how they're cleaning up the spill, and with this like angelic music. Like they just market on anything. And really this preemptive move, I guess, is smart on their part to like kind of deflate kind of some of the legislators who might pass things. But generally speaking, you have to go through their portal, you have to sign up, you have to check your spam folder, you have to print the coupon, you have to do all of this process.
So it's still gonna be the thousands of dollars, but if you go through the right bureaucratic hoops and you put in your little code,
website,
you can get a discount. Okay, so like everything in this fucking country that we're told happens under socialism, but actually just happens here under extreme capitalism. But before I let you jump in, Maggie, like, do you think I think that tweet had something to do with it? They got called out. And what is the stock market this fragile and idiotic that they're like, oh no, free, I guess I won't move investment. Like what?
I mean, if you show that a tweet could shake a corporation, like that corporation is going to, in effect, be shook, like the shareholders will be shook, and they were shook.
They were shook. Maggie, what do you make of this move? Lowering the price is 30. Are we like happy with 35?
No. No. Like, how many people need insulin in this country? Like, isn't it one of the most widely used drugs out there?
Yes.
So we're charging people there. I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I'm someone who has been kicked off of a medication because it was too expensive. And like just having to go through and have your doctor tell you like, oh yeah, your insurance now saw one little tick on your blood test and they figure that they can put you on some cheap medication instead of the one that you've been using, that you've been needing, that's, causing us 10,000 a pop. Like we can't do that anymore. Like we were last month. Like they're looking for any little reason to want to kick people off of medication. And it's like, if that's what you're doing, are you an insurance company or are you a death panel?
Yeah.
At this point.
They are absolutely a death panel. And I'm like, I can't believe we're 10 years. What are we, over 10 years since the Affordable Care Act passed? And like, I don't know. It's a little bit of we had a conversation last week about the 4-day work week. We've had, which we didn't get until like the early 1900s. So it's like, I think we can go for way more now. And like, we're back to like, oh, now everyone is mandated on this shitty ass healthcare. And it's shit. Like I pay through the nose and the same thing, the same run around with with the meds and all that. Anyway, 34.2 million people who have diabetes in this country. So yeah, it is very, very well common.
if we can't win on insulin for the thing that was created and then given for free back to society, saying that everyone should have this, sold for $1, the patent, something like that, something silly,
$1.
And if we can't win it with that on something that doesn't cost anything to manufacture, I don't know what we could win. So I think if we all focus on insulin right now, that could be kind of the gateway, like the final straw, I feel.
Absolutely.
Or the beginning spark, I mean.
And I do think, we'll talk about Amazon in a little bit, but I also feel like it's a lesson in when Bernie sets his mind to something, corporations get scared. I mean, he effectively
because he just never stops.
He just doesn't stop. How long was he asking, talking about Amazon workers needing a raise, and then Amazon's like, we've decided to offer $25 an hour, but like, just because we figured.
I followed Bernie through the country during his campaign, and the number one complaint about Bernie was that every stump speech he said the same thing. Amazon workers must get more money. Amazon workers, and everyone was just like, please, can you change it up? Can you change it up? But he's one of the few that get it, where every day there's a new person that hears you.
Yes.
So it's worth annoying people with the same message just to get that new person on board.
I mean, we're comics, Maggie, and I understand it's your set list. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring out the bangers. People want to hear them. You end with your closers, and then you make more fans, and then you got to write a new hour. But like, Bernie, but if nothing changes around you, then Bernie doesn't have to necessarily write that new hour.
You take the same set to Irvine, Brea, you take it to Lancaster,
Bernie
you take that set.
Yeah, take it around. And he's on tour actually right now with his book. And my mom saw him. I think she was very proud that she went to go see him. She like sent me a photo. She's like, I'm seeing Bernie Sanders. And I was like, I did tell her that, even though I did just have a kid, but I was like, if you put Bernie in the White House, I'll put a bun in the oven. Because she was like, when am I going to be a grandma? And I'm like, if you help elect Bernie Sanders president, I'm having kids. And so now that it's Biden, I think it'll just be one kid. Anyway, let's move on, because there was an interesting twist this week. Big news out of Chicago, where there's going to be a runoff for mayor that does not actually include the current mayor of Chicago, Democrat Lori Lightfoot, who failed to win a large enough percentage of votes to make it to the runoff. Instead, it's going to be a battle between tough on crime Paul Valles, I don't know if it's Valles or Valles, I'm not sure, versus leftist and former Chicago Teachers Union member Brandon Johnson. This is a huge upset for Lightfoot. It's, producer Paige and I were talking about it. It's kind of like Karen Bass versus Rick Caruso, but actually not, because Bass is far more of a establishment Democrat, if you will, than I think even than Brandon Johnson is. So let's just go into like their backstories a little bit and how different of a race this is, and sort of get your guys' thoughts on it. Because Lori Lightfoot, by the way, okay, maybe let's just go into Lightfoot. She, okay, to her credit, she's like horribly dressed, and you know what? It takes guts to wear such terrible outfits, but a few things that she's done. She this was actually kind of sick. She bragged on a Zoom meeting that she had the quote biggest dick in Chicago, which obviously, look at those pants.
I would vote for her.
She actually has one leg.
Damn. She sort of ran as more of a progressive, but she backed away from a campaign pledge to support an elected school board in Chicago. She backed away from police reform she promised. She resisted demands to digitize complaint records on police and stalled efforts to create a civilian oversight body with more powers. There was a botched implosion of a coal plant in the Mexican neighborhood of Little Village under her watch that created a 400-foot toxic cloud. Let's see. So they kept, I guess, the results from that secret. Lots and lots and lots of things that people are unhappy about Lori Lightfoot. So who are these alternatives? And interestingly, Valles and Johnson have been on the opposite side. So In 95, then Mayor Richard Daley, handpicked Vias to become CEO of CPS, of Chicago Public Schools, which came under direct mayoral control that year rather than being run democratically after a Republican drafted bill designed to centralize power over the education system passed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what did Vias do as he was a teacher? Remember, Brandon Johnson was part of the Chicago Teachers Union, former teacher. His tenure included attacking and vilifying the teachers union, privatizing services like custodial staff, firing educators, elevating standardized testing as a primary marker of student and school achievement. That created a path to close underperforming schools and replace them with charters. Yes, like every fucking city. In line with his business model for education, Vias slashed school budgets and ended key CPS programs. He also paused pension payments for CPS workers, moved money into a general fund, led to a disastrous consequence for school districts and budgets that are still being felt. So what about Johnson? What did he run on? Brandon Johnson, his stated priorities include increasing funding to neighborhood schools, year-round youth employment programs, reopening the city's public mental health clinics, shuttered by the OG asshole, Rahm Emanuel, reducing fares on public transit, investing in new affordable housing, instituting a Chicago Green New Deal to boost environmental protections. And he's, of course, proposing real estate taxes, luxury taxes in order to pay for that. Quote, the ultra rich and large corporations continue to benefit from the subjugation and isolation of poverty, and my budget plan speaks to these critical investments. So it's a little bit, if I were to LAify it, it feels like if the people's budget here in LA and BLM LA were to like run a candidate and that person were going head to head with Caruso rather than, I think, Karen Bass, who TBD, of course, she just assumed office, but I think is much more not about to restructure the budget. But anyway, I'll kick it to Raf. I don't know. Any thoughts on this?
Well, I'm a member of Working Families Party, and they do their homework when they research people, and they're backing, of course, they backed Brandon Johnson, of course. But Lori Lightfoot, really, the big lesson I feel like from her campaign is, and it's a lesson to all electeds around the country, if you kind of ran a little bit in the middle, but your street team was progressives because they were trying to help you win over a fascist or whoever, you don't, there's a cost for abandoning them when you start legislating, when you start taking office, and this is the cost, and this is going to continue to happen. You just don't have that team anymore, because I'm going to be honest, it's the people who are knocking on the doors in the rain, in the cold, during COVID, during electrical shutdowns, you name it, are the left. And if they've somehow decided you're strategic, even though you're in the center, you're strategic enough to like push back fascism, push back corporatism, push back Wall Street for a little moment, so we can continue to organize. You should see that as a warning, because if you don't feed us, like we won't come out.
Yeah.
And when we don't come out, you lose.
Yeah. That's so true. I mean, he did serve 2 terms and he did win, but it sort of reminds me, I mean, I feel like looking at the Obama administration and not learning the lesson that, I don't know, I guess he was someone who never really felt the way the left didn't come out for him, but he's definitely a case in that, using a movement to get into power and then kind of like appointing and assigning all the same old status quo, admin beltway assholes into high positions and not sort of like using that movement to your advantage or like making good on your promises and whatnot. So, but yeah, Laura, it is a really important lesson in that. And I'm glad, I mean, look, who knows what's going to happen? Paul Vias might very well be the next mayor of Chicago, and he might whatever his tough on crime. I actually don't really know the platform, but I know the platform, and I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Where it's like, yeah, we've heard this same. I'm a businessman. I'll turn everything into a shopping mall. Like okay, so, and we know that's worse, but it's a little bit of a we get to see the Bernie Trump matchup on a local level.
Have you seen the photo of Lori Lightfoot with the beer?
No, but is her giant dick next to it?
Well,
For
yeah,
si- for
it's
scale?
it's helping her walk. But there's just like this sad, if you just put on Twitter Lori Lightfoot beer, it's when she lost and she's just walking out alone with a giant, I think 32 can case of beer in the dark. It's just really sad
Hang
and
on.
satisfying.
Hang on. We have to.
Yeah, I'll put it.
See, the name doesn't do it for me. I heard Lori Lightfoot and I was like, isn't she in jail for getting her kid to college with a water polo scholarship or something?
Oh, right.
Who's that one?
That is Lori. What not? Is it Loeffler? No. Loeffler is a homegirl from the Senate. But oh my God, this is an amazing photo. Hang on, sorry. The chat will know, I'm sure. But hang on. Wait.
So
I love how
so satisfying. It's so sad.
Yo, just like 24 of Modelo with my oversized jacket. There we go.
And I'm sure like the handler or the assistant was like, I'll carry that for you. And like, nah, I got
this. Like, nah, it's mine. I do.
It's a suitcase of beer. I was imagining a 40 ounce, and I was like, oh, she's gonna go home and drink her 40 and call it a day. No, she's got a suitcase of beer.
The thing is, I feel like she should have just looted that, just for like old times. break into the Walmart. Yeah, bitches.
I'll give y'all some crime to be tough on.
Yeah, exactly. Starting with this. First of all, that's amazing. It's a celebratory Modelo. Like those are definitely, that's a pack for like celebration. Yeah. And instead, and I also really like how her handler, her person, or her security is dressed exactly like her. No disrespect for the suit. You gotta wear it, suit and it's good. It's good.
Just took everybody to Men's Warehouse and got extra large.
Sometimes they make a double for security purposes.
They do.
A decoy.
You're gonna like the way you look. Lori, you're gonna like the way. Oh, Lori definitely needs a little Men's Warehouse sponsorship. That'd be adorable. We'll see. I don't know enough about Lori Lightfoot, so I'm curious about everyone. Comments and folks can weigh in, but I definitely think that Raph is right. It's a good lesson in like this is what happens when you don't deliver for people, and it is a little bit of a like a warning to. I mean, again, it doesn't necessarily translate on the federal level. We'll see in 2024 what comes with Biden. But I also don't think that Biden can do nothing between now and when he's facing re-election. So, anywho, we have another story, a final story that actually Raph knows quite a lot about. So this was the week where the Amazon Corporation, yes, you've heard of it, decided to press pause on its construction of HQ2 in Northern Virginia. Yes, Raph is cheering with his hands. Here we are. Amazon paused construction HQ2. Exactly. You need a fucking 24-pack of Modelo in this case. And so Virginia's bid for HQ2. You guys remember the bidding wars? Raph will explain what that looked like in New York. Came with promises to invest in the regional workforce, particularly a graduate campus of Virginia Tech that is under construction just a couple of miles from Amazon's under construction campus in Crystal City. There were a lot of things that Amazon was going to get for choosing Northern Virginia. The incentives were the state promised $22,000 for each new Amazon job on the condition that the average worker's salary for those jobs was $150K annually, which is like, why not just make it $172,000 and or less or whatever it is. Those incentives were about $550 million for the 25,000 projected jobs. So not nothing. Arlington County also promised Amazon a cut of its hotel tax revenue. Ridiculous. On the theory that hotel occupancies would increase significantly once Amazon builds out its campus. That incentive projected initially at about $23 million is dependent on how many square feet of office Amazon space occupies in the county. So this is the spokeswoman for Virginia Economic Development Partnership, which I assume works with the state. but said state officials are not concerned about this, though. There are 8,000 workers now employed at the headquarters, and they're running about 3,000 ahead of what was expected. So nothing to see here. She said there's no incentive that's been paid out to Amazon. The company's scheduled to submit its first application for payment on April 1st. Just like write a little invoice. Anyway, we created a lot of jobs and I'd like my money. Amazon would then receive its first grant payment on or after July 1st, 2026. So there's a little spin, and we have a different spin to give on it, but there are also layoffs at Amazon, and not necessarily on the warehouse level. In fact, there's difficulty in hiring, I believe, at the warehouse level, but in throughout the corporation, there have been massive layoffs. What I read was that during the pandemic, there was sort of this overshooting over this presumption that much more money was going to be made than is made, which is still billions every minute. But Raf, what's your take on why they press pause on this?
Yeah. So you mentioned you had a deal with like a promotion deal with American Prospect. They're actually, people should do that Patreon with you, because one of the best writers about Amazon and analysts about it is a American Prospect writer, David Diane. And he early on exposed that really that whole contest Amazon started, where all these cities do this like Hunger Games of like pick me. That was really just like a data collection scam, where we as like activists and city workers and researchers have been trying to get city data for years so that we could design programs, budgeting, campaigns, and we can't. They handed this data to Amazon. All of these cities around the country just handed all of their economic data, development data, infrastructure stuff, like everything.
Yeah.
And so this was all like a big scheme, and they had already decided where they're going to go.
To your point, don't you think I didn't clip that up from David Dayan from the American Prospect? Here was his take on it. As Raf is saying, interestingly, the phase that has not been filled out of the HQ2 is the public green space, commercial restaurant, retail outlets, basically all the community and broader economic benefits that a city would expect in return of a truckload of subsidies would be pushed off. So that's important to note what they're not going to build. But to Raf's point, Dayan writes, but Amazon got something much bigger. It got proprietary information from cities in virtually every corner of the United States, information about public property, access to infrastructure, makeup of the workforce, a treasure trove of documents for a company that wants to put a facility somewhere. It also got a specific bid for how much that city would be willing to give to Amazon in economic development subsidies. They got all the city planning data on the future construction of America for free, as well as bidding information that offered insight as to who might pony up fat subsidies. That was always the goal of the HQ2 project, where corporate office executives would live and work, was completely secondary. The pausing of Arlington project helps reinforce that. So to that point, Raf, are you saying that as an activist, like, organizations want that information, and that like working with Athena or, Working Families Party, is that not readily available?
No, you have to scour and get through all these antiquated systems and pay money and hire lawyers and things to do all those things. The cities just handed it to Amazon, and really, it's good for us to actually depict what Amazon really is. Amazon is really a surveillance company. It's really monetizes and makes its money from its like putting its tentacles throughout every system in our government and civic life, and becoming indispensable and drawing from that data that they can profit off of. And also what they learned from all of those bids was which towns they can move into, which towns have city councils who are kind of like are willing to do deals in secret, for example, and shut out the local community, because the local community is going to be like, how about building us a school? What are you going to do about pollution? What are you going to do about the taxes? What are you going to do about job quality? And instead, they lock them out. So we at Athena Coalition, we actually started from the group that won, that beat off Amazon from Queens, HQ2, the same facility.
Yes. So folks don't know, HQ2 was going to be in Long Island City. And then, dun dun dun, Raph entered the picture.
And then a small group of folks started a thing that became a popular movement in New York City against it. AOC came in, all of the worker groups, community groups came in, and there was this beautiful, beautiful coalition. Oftentimes, even a coalition that was so broad that you wouldn't see them together prior to it.
Nice.
So that kind of created a model for Athena Coalition, which is a national thing where I'm at, and it's over 50 organizations, grassroots, all of them. And we combine our forces with workers, with communities, with immigrants, climate fighters, Palestinians, everywhere where Amazon has targeted, we find allies and we build our coalition. And recently, like one thing Consumer Reports found, which Consumer Reports, when I grew up with Consumer Reports, it was like, don't get this dryer, don't get this toaster, get this. This Consumer Reports is fucking bad. It's so badass because they did research and they found out that Amazon has been targeting its warehouses across the country to Black and brown communities, where they can they feel like they can have, like, into disinvested communities, they'll have more leverage to have deals in secret, to pay people off, to pay, like donate,
right.
and to really go around the communities and build. In some of these maps, they found they were building a warehouse across the street from the school, knowing that it's going to be like thousands of trucks every day with their fumes. So one of those places, for example, was our coalition member Make the Road in New Jersey,
right?
Who Amazon tried to use this information and all of these connections they have to open up an air hub. They don't have many air hubs around the country, not that many. And they're very vital. They're the ones that replenish all of the warehouses around the country. So in Newark, they're going to take over a part of the Newark airport and have their own planes and their own things there. And they did it in secret. And the coalition came together. Little kids came outside and they started counting trucks. They made it into science projects.
Nice.
How much pollution it's going to mean. Like this, little old ladies, everyone came out and defeated it. And it just became like a long string of defeats for Amazon, now culminating in this HQ2 embarrassment, which we actually call in the movement HQPoo, because it's in the shape of the poop emoji. The architecture for the facility
just looks like a massive Duke.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
HQPoo, yeah.
HQPoo. And so the idea, like, it kind of exposes more broadly that these, like, the bidding wars and all that bullshit where, like, you have cities groveling, please, I'll give you this subsidy. Like, you can pave a road. We'll pave a road for you out of our poor people, like all that stuff, like that. Actually, it's all bullshit. And they're not in the business of revitalizing. They're in the business of leeching off of already, communities that have been divested from, and offering them non-union, middling wages jobs that are dangerous, where people drop dead and then they just sort of go on with their day.
In New Jersey, and now it was the injuries that hit the headlines. The first thing that hit the headlines was the pee in the bottles. Everyone wanted to talk about the pee in the bottles.
Yes.
That was like a
Great
symbol
headline.
of something even worse, and that was just the injuries. So they have twice the injuries of other warehouses around the country. In some cities, 5-6 times the injuries. And now what's happening is deaths, where people are dying, and then they cover the body with boxes so that people can continue to work, and they don't tell his or her colleagues that there's a dead body next to you. Because they don't want that report, they don't want that press, they don't want that iPhone video. They just want to continue like this machine. And behind that is this surveillance mechanism. Behind that is quotas and things that just really literally work people until they break. And in New Jersey last year, in 3 weeks, there was 3 deaths. 3 weeks, 1 week apart. Within 3 weeks in 3 different facilities.
My God.
Amazon.
Oh my God.
And really now it's coming to fore. People kind of know what they're about. People see kind of through it, like the sheen is really off. Bezos couldn't even get his boat out and disassemble that bridge at that point, and they had to
my God.
break it in half again and then bring it out. Bezos tried to get This is all like Bezos tried to get his name near Martin Luther King Library in DC, like for like a pittance amount of money. And our communities came out, beat that back. In California, we passed a law. Look up IE Workers. That's Inland Empire, the biggest warehouse areas in the world.
Yes.
Really. And their victories on Amazon every day happening, including a law that's passed against their surveillance and their quota system that's breaking workers.
So, first of all, Maggie, please jump in. Anything you want to add? I'm very floored by. I like the idea of little kids jumping into the mix and being like, "Nah, fuck your company," you know. And I know, Maggie, sometimes other than stand up, you've been known to substitute teach, and I'm wondering if that gives you more or less hope in the idea that one day we will break up big corporations. If you're like, I feel like these kids are kind of, they fuck with some nationalizing and breaking up corporations.
Yeah, but I mean, especially from what you guys are saying, it's the knowledge of it, like knowing that they're going to come into your city or your community, knowing that they're going to want to have meetings with people, and knowing that they're intentionally wanting to shut you out of these meetings. Like at a point, it's like, what can I fight that I don't know is there?
Right.
You know, and it just, for me, it's very like, everything is just very signs on the wall when we start to like kowtow to like these giant businesses. This is like 20 years removed from Mad Max. Like, what do they really like?
It crumbles real quick, but yeah,
right. Like
Bezos is up there releasing the water.
That's the thing. It's like you're forcing people to have kids that clearly they can't afford, because if they could, it would not be that big of an issue. People are not making money like any kind of a livable, wage without any kind of a fight. So it's like, what are the logical things that'll happen? A lot of people, not a lot of money.
Yep.
BJs are $25. Like everything crumbles, everything gets bad. Like when you have people fighting for resources like that, and it's like, it seems very clear to me, like this is setting up a situation where people are going to have to real quick start fighting for resources, start fighting for jobs, start fighting for like a piece of the cookie that Mr. Bezos has handed their community.
Yeah.
But like,
and that's sort of the push and pull, which you're like, I'm sure part of the communities where a warehouse is set to, I mean, that's what we're talking about, is set to, land, is they're like, well, we need some investment, we need some jobs, and this is all we got, so why not? And I mean, I also, we should talk about the fact that Amazon's now, it looks like, will be able to buy One Medical Group, entering them into the healthcare game, right?
I will burn down an Amazon fulfillment center. I will do it. Just kidding, I won't. This is on YouTube. But
just kidding. Like, what if they offer me like $30 a month for a healthcare plan? I'll be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, they are ultimately, this is the brilliance of vulture capitalism, is you sort of see, it's not disrupting, it's seeing where other capitalism has failed. You feed on the carcass of the state, and you feed on the carcass of other capitalists, or / our own bodies. I don't know. I'm trying to work out the metaphor, but and pretty soon, I mean, speaking of like schooling, I was just thinking about education. They're going to go into education at some point. They're going for it all. And
they already are in education.
In what ways?
Bezos himself is personally invested in a lot of like schools and things that are, they're into it, and they're basically, they put their finger in everything. And as you said, the things that they help defund, which is schools and hospitals and healthcare and housing and all those things, they come as a solution with a fraction of what they would have paid in the taxes.
Right.
And they're celebrating. They even print these giant big checks. Like when I was a kid, I would, like Publishers Clearinghouse, when I was a kid, they would have these giant checks. They would come to people's doors. They would cry. And now there's like this huge company coming with a giant check to this community. And they've been disinvested so much because of Amazon and their lobbyists.
Yeah.
That they have to cheer getting this, even though on the bottom of their breath, they're like, fuck Jeff Bezos.
Right. It's like when Ellen comes to your like school and it's like, here's $10,000. You're like, thanks. bitch. Like, you're terrible.
But then there's that layer of like billionaire worship where people don't realize just because someone has made $1 billion doesn't mean that they're a smart, good, helpful, worthwhile person. They are certainly not here for your benefit. Like, it just reminded me of I had tweeted once about guys, please let's not let there be an Elon Musk presidency. Let's just not let that happen. And some broad tweeted back at me like, well, he's certainly getting the job done. This is before he bought Twitter. But she's like,
God.
He's certainly getting the job done. And I responded, I was like, what job? What's he getting done? Just being rich? And then like a month later, he bought Twitter and tanked it. So it's like, so he's not getting the job done. Like he had one job in your head and he didn't do it. But in your head, you were like, he's really doing it. He's out here talking confidently. And
he's got like 3 jobs and he's not doing any of them. You know?
Like, but then he's also doing nothing for the random people who are sitting at home like, oh yeah, Elon Musk, he's really making a difference. It's like,
you know what he's doing, Maggie? He's triggering you. That's a job. Triggered.
He went overtime.
First of all, I ducked under the news about Elon Musk getting mad and like firing his team over the fact that Joe Biden had more engagement on his Super Bowl tweet than he did. Like, come on.
In a way, I feel like it's performance art. Like if anything, if I was to hire a white guy to do performance art about what it is to be white and rich in this country, where you could just bend the rules and make things that are unpopular popular, make failures make you rich,
yes,
and make lies be the truth. Like it's I think we're all kind of learning some kind of lesson here, and maybe we come out on the other side like Elon Musk can never be president because Elon Musk was in charge of Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just reminded, born in South Africa, which honestly, real sigh of relief. And I kind of am thankful for that law. But Raf, I've always had this debate about who's worse, right? Like Matt and I, my husband, Matt and I have this debate of like whether Musk is worse than Bezos, right? And I always hated Musk a little bit more, and Bezos seemed to like know how to like shut the fuck up because he's odious and he makes so much, more money than we'll see in a lifetime in the time we were live on this show. But what about Bezos? What about this little megalomaniac? Where's he going? And how do we stop him?
So I think like Bezos has been a boon to organizing and Musk too, because they play the villain so well. But I think it's a mistake to focus on these individuals, where if they just left, there would just be another person systemically that pops up in their place. Right. And really focus on like what structures and this and all those things that make a Bezos possible, that make a Musk possible. However, in terms of like just personality, Bezos definitely does a better job at being seen as like a liberal kind of person, and people see him as that. In fact, right-wingers hate him. In fact, part of people who want to break up Amazon are like these right-wingers, which never agree with me on anything, but will because it'll hurt Bezos, and they just view him as this Democrat, which is completely untrue. Amazon gives to every politician. Amazon gives to the insurrectionist politicians. Amazon donates to the anti-abortion politicians, and quite openly. And there is no left or right, I don't think, with Bezos. I think they're just money. With Elon Musk, I do think there's a tinge of like old school, like South Africa apartheid kind of thing. California sued Tesla for running segregated warehouses. There is a tinge of that, and he's made it very clear that he's kind of like a old school bigot and white supremacist.
Yeah, word.
I don't think anybody really takes Elon Musk very seriously. And I think that's kind of what softens him for me. Like Jeff Bezos is way worse because he is a way better silent victim or silent villain. Sorry. Whereas, let's say, remember Roseanne Barr was out, loudly saying her opinions, getting canceled, getting kicked off of a network. They took Roseanne off of some kind of like a replay.
Her own show.
Yeah,
Roseanne.
but she had like reruns playing on a channel, and they kicked her off and put Grace under fire. People didn't realize Brett Butler's also very problematic. Just knows how to keep her mouth shut.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go, Roseanne. Just keep it shut. But okay, final point on Amazon, then we can move on. But I'm like, as a new mom, and yeah, I understand I shouldn't, but I'm reliant on Amazon for some things, and it's really tough because you need a thing tomorrow because the baby is changing, is a different person. There's a new piece of fucking gear that you didn't know, or like my nipples hurt because I got the wrong bottle, and I need her to get on this new bottle. Amazon's there. And I'm just at this point with this company that I'm like, it's so ubiquitous, it's so evil, but it is actually just a marketplace. It is the internet, for lack of a better term. It's a marketplace, and it should be a public good. But I do not think we're going to see it nationalize in our lifetime. I mean, shit, I don't want to say that, but in the next, few years, but we could maybe see it be broken up. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Raph, on like any kind of glimmer of regulation, even at this time when they're looking like they're going to get into, the medical industry?
So with the House kind of not on our side right now,
yeah,
one of the big things is regulation. And one of the big victories for working people was the appointment of Lena Khan to the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. And they have amazing tools at their disposal. And she's actually an amazing person. And right now you could judge by the lobbyists that are kind of racistly defaming her and trying to belittle her and trying to say she's not qualified for this, or that she has like a political agendas or whatever. She's actually one of the first few experts that come into these regulatory roles who are qualified for the position, who actually speak for the people. And that's what they're afraid of. And in fact, one of her big papers when she was younger was about breaking up Amazon.
There you go.
That was a huge victory in terms of Biden and Democrats supporting her appointment. And right now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to vilify her because they don't know what she's up to next. And some of the things that communities have been asking them to do is regulate Amazon. Like Warren's pretty big on it. Warren famously says you can't be the referee and a player. And on Amazon's platform, they sell their own things, often which they use surveillance and things to copy from their sellers.
Of course.
So they used to take only like 30% or something of a sale. Now they're up to like 50-60% of every sale of sellers. And now they're trying to force sellers that they can't even sell things cheaper on their own website. They have to sign this rule, like a law, like not a rule, a term that keeps them from selling it cheaper anywhere else. One of our coalition members, ILSR, Institute for Local Self-Reliance, they have a report showing the toll booth they call Amazon is, which is decimating these businesses. And what Amazon's using these businesses for is surveillance too, and data. And what they're doing is they're finding, oh, this is popular, and this type of person likes this in red. So we're going to combine this, and we're going to make our own product and kill their own person on their own platform.
Totally. They are cancer. I mean, and to the point where they're now creating, there are stores. I've talked about this on the show before with like, a bookstore or like just a shop. You dismantled mom and pop shops from the inside out. You entered them like the fucking whatever the ghoul from Stranger Things is, or whatever fungi is in The Last of Us. I don't watch it, but whatever. And you just sort of infected it and killed it.
To your point, you can't avoid Amazon. Even if you somehow, you didn't live in a rural thing, you weren't disabled, all of those things. You log on to Netflix, it uses Amazon servers, AWS. This probably stream at multiple points probably goes through AWS. Yes. Our hospitals, our infrastructure, government infrastructure is running through AWS. So there's really, and that's actually more than half their business, I think, around that proportion. So really, there's no way to boycott Amazon. And you know, they are destroying the options out there for people. So, you know, the two biggest things whenever something bad happens with Bezos, people come to me with two things. They say, Raf, the workers just have to unionize, it'll solve everything. Or Raf, the customers have to boycott and it'll solve everything. And the reality is none of those things alone will solve everything.
Right.
And that we need to get wherever Amazon's doing harm, the climate, the prison industrial complex, the ring surveillance, those little cute doorbells have over 2,000 contracts with local police departments. LAPD has already requested footage from people's doorbells without talking to the people, without a warrant, to get footage of BLM protesters passing a neighborhood. So theoretically, the police and ICE and others can get a person and use facial recognition and use other things and cell phone tracking to get a footage of that person through their entire week, because they're passing through so many Ring doorbells around the country. So there's that, and there was a victory there too.
That's the McCloskey lobby, right?
Wanda Sykes was going to do this show. I don't know who convinced her. It was called Ring Nation, and she was going to make it so fun and funny about all these doorbell videos, and they're cute. And it was a tool by Amazon, which at the time was also taking over MGM and using MGM to do this.
Yeah, I know.
You know, that's being challenged. But the victory there was something hit Wanda Sykes with the movement, where they didn't advertise the show. She never tweeted about it. It's like disappeared. It aired on some like local shows, not on the internet, not even on Amazon Prime.
So it was filmed. It was made.
It was filmed. It was produced, and it just disappeared.
Interesting.
Because of public pressure. Yeah.
Because it was just such a bad look. They were like, you know,
maybe it was her. I don't think Amazon cares. They're just going to move forward. I do think artists care. I do think when we reached Pete Davidson, when he was invited to go to space with Bezos, we were like, you're from Staten Island. The Amazon labor union is from Staten Island. You're going to go to space with Bezos? Like, what? Do you see what he's doing with you? And then he just found some excuse saying he can't make it.
Hell yeah. I think he just wanted to go to space so he could like ride on a dick that's bigger than his own. I'm sorry.
I think he wanted to date the moon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he wanted to ask the moon. He wanted to ask the moon out. No, but that is, first of all, I love Bezos's. I just love how it is a penis. Like it's a penis. It's a dick. But it's funny because I was just looking at that. I was like, oh, I didn't know Pete Davidson was going to go there. And, you know, because he makes a big splash, big headline with, oh, I'm going to ride. Wanda Sykes is going to do a show. Yeah. And then the fizzling doesn't get the headline, but that's the work of you all.
Yeah, sign up at athenaforall.org. And this is how you join. We'll email you when these things happen. And it really matters when you show up and join communities.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Raf, for breaking all that down. We will see. To be continued in this long struggle against this, like, again, monster with so many tentacles that has to be broken up at some point. Just like chop one of them off and like watch it writhe. We have one more segment, a final segment. We're going to be talking about, this is, okay, new segment introducing just something good that happened and just saying thank you. Just thank you. Thank you that someone said this, someone did it, someone finally had the guts. So here we go. Thank you. Wait, hang on. Where is it? Where's the new interstitial? Thank you. And you have to say it in my voice, which is thank you. There we go. And here, this week's thank you, Jon Stewart, speaking with Ohio legislator Nathan Dahm about his move to ban drag shows for kids while also loosening gun laws in the state of Ohio. Take a look. This is a snippet from the show, The Problem, and I hope that it is not a problem for our copyright.
You want to ban drag show readings to children?
To minors, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you banning?
Also that.
Is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that because that shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Oh,
John.
classic Stewart. Classic Jon Stewart when he just gets so fucking real. It is, I guess it's comedic in that you can just kind of cut right through the bullshit and say what needs to be said and how hypocritical this is. But man, like, pour one out for Nathan Dom. Destroyed completely. Like, who convinced him? Like, can you imagine? Like, oh, we got Jon Stewart wants to interview you. You're like, what? Jon Stewart? Oh my god, yeah, that could be good. That's cool. I watched him a little bit. Like, who lied to this man that told him he could go up against Jon Stewart in this interview? And I'm sure the whole production team was like, yes. Like,
That's what I'm talking about. Like, someone in there, some production, some person there did it.
yeah.
See, it's somebody. He was like, "Oh, they're just some liberal snowflake." I got 15 memes that are gonna disprove anything he has to say.
What about this meme? It
Yeah.
has like just no, exactly.
He didn't know what he was coming into. He really thought he could go to toe with Jon Stewart, and thankfully they taped it.
Part of me is like, they're just gonna come on anyway because half of them are narcissists. Like,
Yes.
they're just gonna come on anyway.
That's what it is. It's like, no, but if my message, they're doing the opposite, Bernie. But if my crap message can be heard by one liberal who sees how illogical it is, and it's like, I like that.
My favorite part of the whole video, Jon Stewart is like completely like silver fox, like white hair. He's like an older white dude. It looked like that dude was being lectured by his father.
Yes.
It was awesome because like a younger white dude, people are like, oh, he's liberal. Give him a few years. Oh, he just learned some stuff in that liberal art college. This dude like should have grown into being a Republican, but he is just as steadfast in all of his beliefs. So it's like, you're going to argue with like who should be the establishment, older white dudes. The patriarchy is actually telling you what's what, and you think you're going to argue with them. So good.
That moment exactly where he's like, oh, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. Ooh.
So good.
Just dressed down. Daddy said no. So good. I'm still not gonna get Apple TV, Apple Plus. Like, I'm
just gonna watch that clip over and over. That's all I'm doing.
But no, I will. Of course, I will. I will illegally download Severance. That's the only Apple Plus. Okay. But yeah, it's so necessary to have that stuff. And honestly, as someone who like, this is the thing when you're like, why are comedians doing the work of journalists? It's like, that's why. That's exactly why. It's because when they do get an opportunity to talk to the so-called other side, they can just completely point out their hypocrisy without beating around the bush, without pretending that it's anything than, sort of hateful deflection, that they're completely wrong and that it is completely out of step with reality and with the American people and what they want. So it's like, and it's not that comedians have to do that. It's just no one else has the fucking balls or, ovaries or, Lori Lightfoot dicks.
That's why I got to be real close friends with Maggie after this, because I need someone to walk through society with me 5 years from now and tell me who's AI and not.
That person got 6 fingers. They're AI.
Exactly. This person doesn't understand my joke. No, I didn't land. They didn't laugh. They laughed at the setup. That's an idiotic thing.
They're not real.
That's a calculator.
Yeah. TI-83. I want to go to brunch. Robots love brunch. They've been programmed. That is our show, you guys. Maggie, where can everyone find you and your work?
I'm on all of the platforms under Maggie Maye, but spell May, Maye.
There you go. Everyone try and catch Maggie live. She's wonderful. And please come back. Take very, very good care of yourself. And Raph, what about you? I mean, we got Athena for all.
Athena for all. We got Beyond the Pale radio, which is if you're in New York. And also we stream it on WBAI.
Is that your BAI show? Is that WBAI?
Yeah, it's a BAI show.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
When does it stream? When's it live?
9 a.m. every Friday right after Democracy Now!
Great spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
That's a very good spot. Wait, so I heard you were saying on email that you get weird inquiries as well. You get weird
Oh,
trolls.
yeah. So it's free speech radio. So you get everybody. And I'll get like people like, hey, Raph, I love what you're doing with the show. Really fun. Thanks for doing this. When can you stop being a big pharma corporate shill? I'll take your answer off the air. Thanks. Bye. You know, just like they're so sweet and earnest, and then say something like that. And
why is it in this voice? Is it? I was just, I was looking at, I was watching Jimmy Dore, and I was just wondering how much did Johnson and Johnson pay you when you got that bad vaccine? And I'm a supporter of BAI. I'm a sustainer, but I've never seen quite a
BAI buddy
shill as yourself. Thank
God
you.
bless
Thank
you.
you very much. I'm gonna, my oatmeal's ready. Goodbye.
You nailed it.
Yeah. Oh, I know the demo. I organize in New York. I know
of the legend.
Oh God. Yeah, I know of the old crusty lefty in New York. God love them, man. They're great. They're great. Someone's got to do that, and God bless rent control. Because someone's got to hoard all the shit that's still on the streets of that city. Rafael Shimunov, you're wonderful. Everyone follow Rafael Shimunov on Twitter. Just one of the best follows of your life. And please come back on the show.
Thank you.
This has just been such a joy.
So
Take care.
Fun.
Hell yeah. And thank you all for being here as well. All the comments, going to read some of your chats. Robert, thanks for the super chat. Says, the lesson Dems learned about left politics is as long as Republicans are worse, Dems can get elected. Dems are invested in keeping Republicans awful. Yes. And also, I think Dems are invested in keeping so-called crime high. That is my belief. I believe that the Democrats use the police to clean up their policy failures. And when they hear things like people are getting thrown off SNAP benefits, not all of them, but ultimately it will lead to more like theft of food, lead to more money for police, and the whole disgusting cycle of preying on the poor continues, locking them up for, the crime of trying to make ends meet. So anyway, just a little random thought I just had anyway. Bad Lefty on YouTube. David Dayen is a great reporter. Common guest over on the Majority Report. Absolutely. David Dayen has also been here. Rosalba 14, y'all are killing me today. Lol. Thank you, Rose. Good to see you. Jeff Curry, did she steal Obama's tan suit? This is about Lori Lightfoot. Yeah, that tan suit was donezo. Like he couldn't wear that again. So Lori was like, and taken. Let's see. Seth Evans says a lot about the actual state of politics and whom is actually valued politically by how utterly cucked governments at every level are for private for-profit businesses. Absolutely. We are the ultimate cuck. The government is the ultimate cuck. We just watch corporations fuck over our citizens and somehow they're into it. Anyway, Seafish on YouTube, Amazon shipping should be nationalized and the workers should be unionized. Yes, agreed. Terrence Trumbo on YouTube, AOC was right all along. Bad Lefty, no good honest person makes or earns $1 billion. Not at all. Like, what is he going to do with it? What is he going to do with it all? It's just to make himself and his spawn more money. And let's see. Selah Lewis on YouTube, regulations protect us. We need to unlearn the myths that they've been created about them. Agreed. I mean, like the seatbelt, speaking of lobbies, like the seatbelt lobby needs to do a lot more. Like we should continue to remember why regulation matters. Selah Lewis, also nationalized delivery service is called the U.S. Postal Service. It's true. Restore and fully fund USPS. You know, people shit on USPS, but it's there for you. It will be there for you. It is reliable. Well, all the storms this winter, you know who was there? All during the pandemic, you know who was there? The mail person. Yeah, and that's the most affordable shipping you can find. You ever try and send just like a small thing? It's very expensive. UPS will gouge you on that, not USPS. And there's always book rate. Don't sleep on book rate, y'all. Anyway, I wanted to thank everybody as well for new patrons, $10 or more, big tippers, and all the good people with the fart song. Oh, with the fart song. Amazing. Zach Bina, hell yeah. Seafish, I just read your comment. Welcome to the Patreon. Welcome to the Frantifa. You guys get access again to watch back the Friday show, 1 p.m. Doing a bonus fish by myself, doing all kinds of stories, and we'll be interacting with everybody. As well as, let's take a look at Twitch. What's going on? Frank Morningtree resubscribed. Thank you so much. 15 months says meow. ZX227 resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Subscribe for 5 months. Francesca, your show always makes my week awesome. Thank you for keeping me informed and helping me laugh at the news. Thank you. And Navinix subscribe with Prime. Welcome. And Just Czar resubscribe with Prime. Thank you so much. And Brandy Lou 2 resubscribe with Prime as well. Hell yeah. And if I didn't say, Jared Cardenas 813 also, and Marcus Aurelius 75. Thank you all so much for your support. Again, we stream every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to Paige, Oamek, Maximillien, Inhoff, and Andy Vasoyan. Follow us on Twitter at Bitchuation Pod, TikTok, and Instagram at Franny Fio. And remember, fight the power, fuck the patriarchy, and don't just bitch about it. Be about it. Bye.